Halito, everybody, welcome back. This is CT over at the Native Reality, and today we're going to be talking about Match Me Abroad. This was episode 3. This is still the beginning of this new series, and we're kind of seeing how everything is happening for these American people that are literally meeting for the first time the people that they hope to be married to in those people's respective countries. This is going to be brought to you from a mixed urban Native American perspective and a secular perspective, so let's dive right on in. So I don't know if you guys saw the episode. That came on Sunday. Monday was Memorial Day, so I'm getting this video out a little bit late. But I'm very fascinated by this show, okay? So we start off the episode with Harold, and Harold is with Katerina, that's his matchmaker, and she is like being gentle with him, but she still has to kind of guide him, right? Because, his clothing and stuff like that, I mean, the hairpiece is terrible. So, we see a makeover happening in the future, but not quite on this episode. So she sets him up, or she tells him that she has found a date for him with what his type is, right? So he wants blonde and athletic. And it's like, Harold. Harold, I mean, okay, Harold's a little, he might be overshooting a little bit, but I don't know. Maybe there's enough of a pool to choose from over there. Just not sure. But Katerina's like, okay, I'm going to set him up with what he thinks he wants. Or not what he thinks, but what he wants. And then later, I'll fix him up with what he actually needs, what is reality. And, I think well, I should say. Anyway, so moving on. So Stanika goes out on her first date. And apparently this is Stanika's first date ever in her life. In her life. Now, either the men in her town are just that horrendous, or she is that picky, which I don't think she is, or she's lying. I mean, and I don't think she's lying. So, I mean, it's just so hard to imagine that at her age, she's never even gone out on a date. Living in America, right? She's not from a country where dating is forbidden outside of marriage or something. Like, it is just, it baffles me. She's a pretty woman. Like, I don't care if she was heavy before. Big people, big women get men, no problem. No problem. So, like, maybe it was a little bit harder for her, but I mean, and it's the South, right? Like, so, I mean, being bigger doesn't stop you from getting a date, especially in the South. So I just don't understand how she's never gone on a date before, but, I guess so. Oh, hey, Barbara, how are you? Good morning. Thank you for joining. Did you watch Match Me Abroad, Barbara? It was good. I enjoyed it. Slow burn, like I said, but still. To me, this is more like documentary style. Like, you're really following people. It's not just salacious and crazy, So, so she meets her tour guide, and that's who I think Nina is her tour guide, her matchmaker's name. To Nina, I mean, did you see like her little belt? You watched it, Barbara. Did you see like Nina's little belt and stuff like that? I mean, she knows how to put, I know where she's living and, dress codes and all that stuff, but she knows how to put together a look. You know what I'm saying? Like that, she looks good. I like the way Nina dresses. I like the way Nina dresses better than I like the way, what's her name? Stanika dresses, to be honest. But so she introduces them, and his name is Nordine. And I think it's like a nervous kind of thing with Stanika, but she's cutting him off a lot as he's trying to talk. It's kind of giving me flashbacks of Susan and that bad date she had with that guy last week. And so, yeah, he gives her flowers and everything. She is beautiful, right? I mean, that's what I said too, Barbara. So, she's like enjoying it. And then she goes to Nina, like Nina's some nanny or something. She's like, hold my flowers. I was like, Stanika, that's not very polite, okay? But anyway, Nina's like, okay, things are going good, and she's watching them kind of hit it off, and it seemed like it does seem initially like there's at least some chemistry, some physical chemistry on both sides. So Nordine is saying that he wants a woman who is not a traditional Morocco, or right? Aren't they in Morocco? Oh my goodness, I can't remember now. They're in Morocco, right? It's not Tunisia. I think they're in Morocco. Yes, they're in Morocco. It has to be Morocco, right? So he doesn't want a traditional Moroccan woman. And, that's kind of interesting. I'm interested to hear more about his background and maybe has he always wanted to live in another country? Maybe he feels like the environment in Morocco is a little too strict or something. That happens. People, they immigrate all the time. They move out because they want different, a different environment. So I'm wondering if that's the case with him. Maybe that's why he wants an American woman. Thank you, Morocco. Thank you, Barbara. I want, maybe he wants a Western woman because he feels like, maybe there'll be less expectations on him also. Because as a tour guide, I don't know what he's making, right? Maybe he feels like that's not enough to support a family with. I'm just guessing. I have no idea. But, maybe he doesn't want children. And maybe that's a hard thing to find in his country, a woman that doesn't want to start a family. I don't know. So, yeah, I hope we find out more about him. But yeah, they have pretty good chemistry. And Nina says, hey, listen, I think you guys got, that's okay, Barbara. I probably wrote it wrong too a couple of times myself. I understand what you meant. You meant Morocco. It's no problem. But it's too early for us to have good spelling over here, girl. Right? Isn't it Barbara, you're up in British Columbia, right? If you're in British Columbia, then you're in the same time zone. So it's 9:35 over there, right? But so it's early for us, girl. Don't worry about that. So yeah, Nina's like, you guys are hitting it off well, and I'm just gonna leave, because I think you guys are doing okay. And I understand Stanika's hesitancy, or is it hesitance or hesitancy? Ooh, see, here I am making up words. I don't know. Well, she was hesitant. That's all I know. And you understand what I'm trying to say. So she was hesitant because he's a stranger, and she's in a foreign country where she doesn't speak the language and stuff like that. So I understand her wanting to have Nina come along, but at least kind of make it a little bit nicer for Nina. Like kind of had Nina dragging behind like some old dog, on a rope. Like, come on. But anyway, it was fine. Nina was like, I don't usually do this, but. So that was nice. So maybe Nina will get some more clients, probably like some real needy, clingy clients from overseas. You charge them, Nina. You charge them if they want to take you on dates with them. So now we have someone new. It's always exciting when we have a new cast member. So his name is Mark, and he's 44. He's from Phoenix, Arizona. So he is a sportscaster and has been working in the sports industry for I think he said 20 years or something like that, and he travels a lot. He's literally in different countries all the time. He's always traveling, and then that's made it very, very difficult to maintain a relationship. Who is that? Oh, hi, Marcy. I don't want to mess up your name. Sorry, Mercy. Hi, Mercy. How are you? Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us. Is this your first time? I've got some new people in here. Well, Barbara usually joins me, but I've never seen you before, Mercy. Thank you so much for joining. Appreciate it. So yeah, so we're looking at Mark, and I'm thinking, okay, well, this is interesting. So then Mark doesn't just say, I'm 44 years old, I travel a lot, my career hasn't allowed a lot of time for marriage, but he goes, I haven't had time for a marriage, and I want somebody from Morocco. And I said, well, we've got a diversity of thought on this season. And I'm telling you, it's like between Morocco and Tunisia, all the 90-day and all this stuff like that, they're all just like coming on. And I said, wow, okay, this is so fascinating. I'm so interested. Because I'm thinking, all right, Mark, maybe he's since he's a well-traveled man, he knows about different cultures, and he obviously, if he chose Morocco, he knows about the Moroccan culture and knows what to expect somewhat from Moroccan people, right? But why did I make that assumption? Why the hell did I make that assumption? He gets to Morocco, the lady sits down with him and starts telling him about the do's and don'ts, right? And I noticed that, they give lots of advice when people are new, coming over. But when it's the man coming over, we've never seen a man go to a country that is, I guess you would say, conservative. So now it feels like the matchmaker just got to sit them down and be like, listen, don't be coming over here with your American nonsense, creating international incidents. Okay, we don't need the UN getting involved. This is what you can and cannot do. You cannot hold hands in public. You cannot kiss in public. These are our laws. Okay, these are our laws. And don't even think for 2 seconds that you are going to take any woman to a hotel at any point if you are not married to her. And I said, oh my goodness. The way that she explained that to him and his reaction told me everything that I need to know about him. He did no research. Does he realize he's in an Islamic country? Like, I just don't. I mean, he said that he knows that they are more like conservative. So he's thinking maybe in a conservative country he could meet someone who he could, who would be maybe more marriage minded and would want to start a family. Because of his age, he wants to hurry up and start a family. Totally understandable. But goddamn, you got to do your homework, man. This is just insane. I cannot, I mean, him as well as Stanika did not, I think Stanika maybe knew just a little bit, because she said to Nina before, like, what should I wear, right? So I'm sure she understands that, the dress code's a little different in Morocco. But she still didn't fully know, because those little short shorts she was wearing with the coverall, like, I was like, why would you wear that in Morocco? Like, this didn't make any sense to me. And you could tell she just didn't have much. Like, come on, Americans, we cannot be embarrassing our country by going to these places and not knowing what the hell is going on. Some basic ideas. I've never been to the Middle East, and even I know certain things you don't wear, certain things you don't say and do. Even I know that. Like, oh my God, I was just like, what is this? What is going on? So how is this going to play out? He was like, oh, I mean, really? We can't go to the hotel? Like, intimacy is very important. Like, oh my God. I'm thinking when he said Morocco, when the word Morocco came off of his tongue, I'm thinking this guy has studied the language. There are people who get interested in different cultures and then they eventually start to visit there, and then they start to maybe get an interest to meet a partner there. That's what I was thinking. What was I thinking? So, when Nina meets him, she's like, oh, I know about him. Because remember, Nina, she's living over there in Morocco, but Nina is a Jersey girl. So she already knows what's up. She's like, he's a frat boy. I don't know how this is going to work out. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. So what is he like? What does he think? Oh my God, I just can't believe this. This show sometimes just leaves me speechless. Mercy, you got all these emojis on here, girl. It's your first time sending full support from Kenya. Oh, from Kenya. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much for joining me all the way from Kenya. Well, listen, I'm sorry if we have Americans over there in Kenya acting stupid. I can't, I can't excuse their behavior, but thank you so much. That's so exciting. Wow. All right. So we officially have Kenya and Canada in the house today. We got the full on international crew. It's very appropriate for a Match Me Abroad episode. So that is so cool. Oh my God, that's so cool. So so now he starts saying about talking about his ex and how he felt like his ex was using him. So I think he was probably meeting people on other dating sites and stuff before. And, maybe they thought he's like some rich American or something. I don't know. But he does sound like he does pretty well for himself. If he's a newscaster or sports newscaster, he's probably got some bank, right? So, after the matchmaker lays down the law, he's basically sitting over there like scratching his head like, oh, well, how am I going to get to know the girl if I can't even have sex with her? That's what he's thinking. So, oh my God. this is, I mean, I can say a lot of things, but I'm just going to leave that alone. I said enough right there. So now we go with Natalie. Now, Natalie is now in Colombia. And honey, I think she was looking at that cab driver because that cab driver was looking like he might be her type, right? And it was so funny. Like, she's like, yeah, I'm here to meet a boy and everything. And girlfriend does not speak a lick of Spanish. Like she said she had been there before, but I thought she spoke like a little bit, but she was really struggling with the language. But all right. So remember, Natalie is from a Sri Lankan background, and her mother is actively looking for somebody for her, right? And she's like, oh no, and so then, she gets to the matchmaker and she meets Juan face to face for the first time. So Juan says, you know what, we're going to hit the ground running. I'm going to take you to a salsa class because that is part of the culture. And here, more than likely in Colombia, if you go on a date, it's probably going to involve some kind of dancing. And she's like, whoop. You can just see like probably like her butt and everything's like clenched up like, oh God. Some people are not like into dancing and stuff like that. Me, I love to dance, but I sure as hell don't want to do it on a date. I don't know. To me, it's a little too intimate. It's like too much close, but that is the culture. That's Latin culture. It's very affectionate. It's very warm. I mean, I love it. I really, if I had like a second home somewhere, it'd probably be somewhere in Latin America because I really, really, really love the various cultures within Latin America. So, but for her, little miss, raised in her little, her little bubble and kind of like closely knit into her culture because of her mom and stuff like that. She's sitting there the whole time, or not sitting, but she's standing there the whole time. She can barely bend her knees. Like she has no experience dancing. She's really uncomfortable. This is not her element. And she's like, I just keep thinking about my mom and how my mom is going to see this and think, oh my God, like why is she dancing like that? She said in her culture, it is, how did she say it? It's basically desirable to be like intelligent and to be like kind of cute and sweet, but definitely not sexy. And that is a very different cultural shift going into a Colombian culture. And he's kind of like putting her, like throwing her in with the wolves and essentially making her go outside of her comfort zone. So I kind of felt her discomfort for her. But you know what? It's not going to kill her. You know what I mean? I think it'll kind of grease up the joints and kind of get her to kind of see like this can be fun and loosen up a little bit, right? You came here to Colombia you wanted someone that wasn't so conservative and someone that was very open and passionate. And, I love that. And I love that for her. I love that she is going outside of her comfort zone. That's not easy when you are part of like a tight knit community and, to go against your parents and, centuries, perhaps. I don't know how long they've been doing arranged marriages in Sri Lanka, but I mean, I would assume it's not something they started 10 years ago. So you're going against culture, cultural practices, that have happened, generation after generation. Good for her. Good for her. Get out of your bubble. Get out of your box. I'm very happy for her. So I'm excited to see more how her storyline progresses. But I am worried, though, at the same time, because I feel like she is such a good girl, like a good girl, whatever, that, I hope she doesn't wind up with like a player. And sometimes that's what kind of happens in, cultures where, it's kind of a little bit more romantic and, the guys are kind of good looking. I mean, come on, think about it. It's Colombia. Like people on average are good looking over there, right? So, you want to get somebody who can give you all that passion and that openness and things like that, but still be faithful and still want the same things that you want. So your morals have to align. And that's where it's, she can find it. She can find it. It's just, is Juan going to be able to find that for her? And fingers crossed. I mean, she got a matchmaker, so let's give her credit for knowing that it's not something that she should try to dive into herself and that she should let someone who is familiar with the culture and everything to kind of guide her along in that process, especially because she's coming from a non-Latin cultural background. So anyway, so now we go over to Stanika. So Stanika, I mean, she's having a really good time with Nordine. Now, but at the same time, I feel like the bar is kind of low with Stanika because it seems like they could give her a date with anybody as long as he opens up the door for her and like gives her a little eye contact. She'll be happy, right? So I don't want her to jump right in with Nordine because I feel like she needs practice dating. I mean, if I were her matchmaker, I would be like, okay, I want you to go out on like 5 or 6 dates and kind of, test the waters and kind of see what it's like to date. To me, it's just kind of scary, the idea of just jumping right into a marriage when you don't have dating experience. But I do understand that there are cultures around the world that do not allow dating, and people do it all the time. And couples a lot of times stay together for a long time, but you don't want to be one of those couples that stayed together for a long time because you felt like you had to. It's nothing like being in something and feeling like, uh-oh, I didn't taste this, I didn't sample that before I went ahead and dove in and made my decision. Especially as an American woman who's so used to freedom and choices, then once you get, because that's our culture, but once you get married, it's going to be more, that goes out of the window because it's all about you and your partner, unless you go into a polygamous relationship, and that is not this show. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting. I mean, I just wish she had a little bit more practice dating. So all right, who's next? Okay, so we wind up back with Susan. So Susan meets up with Juan, and she's basically telling him how bad the date went. And Juan is still feeling like she didn't open herself up enough. But we saw the way that guy was cutting her off. She could not get a word in edgewise. And I mean, as Americans, we're usually the ones cutting people off, right? I have a bad habit of doing that. I think because I lived in a city for so long and people just talk so fast and the culture so fast that when I'm on the phone with people, because the speed that I have a conversation is just faster than other people, especially like faster than a lot of my family members who live in the country. Countryside folks, they talk, slower. You think slower. You do think slower. You take time to enjoy life. But in the city, everything's so fast. So I find myself cutting people off, and I say, "Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry. No, you go ahead. You go ahead." Because if I can't see their face, then I can't see that they're about to open their mouth and start to say something. So on the phone, for me, it's a nightmare, and I'm very embarrassed about that. And it's something I'm constantly working on, but it's just funny that he was the one that was like popping in and cutting her off every 13 seconds. So anyway, he says, all right, well, you know what? I'm going to find somebody else for you. In fact, I've already found him, and he is younger than you, and he's a musician. So, Juan is really trying to test her because I think he's trying to give her something that she knows that she doesn't want. And since he said young and musician, I'm already expecting somebody in their 20s, maybe 30s, real good looking, right? Extra good looking, because there's always the ones that you shouldn't be with that are like fine as wine. So I expect some, Ricky Martin looking guy, like, and I know Ricky Martin is Puerto Rican, not Colombian. Okay, I know that, but I'm just expecting like somebody real handsome like that. Somebody's going to knock her socks off that she'll have to sit there and be like, yeah, he looks real good, but I can't do this kind of thing. So he's testing her. And if he tests her a little too much, she might just go and try and find herself another matchmaker there in Colombia. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, because she's like, musician as in like, does he own the music company? Or is he like teaching 6-year-olds like, violin lessons or something? So then the last part, okay. So now we end off the segment with Harold, or not the segment, but we end off the show with Harold. So Harold goes out on his date, Teresa, who his matchmaker, Katerina, set him up with. So Katerina meets him, and he's in his most lovely tropical, shirt with his suspenders. And it's like, ay, what are you wearing, Harold? And you know what? We go gentle with Harold because we know, Harold has some struggles there, and I don't know. I mean, it's not easy for him with his, his diagnosis and everything. So, but I understand him wanting to be in Eastern Europe because he feels like they'll be more honest with him if they like him or not. And I understand that. I'm not one of those people like, why do you got to go to another country to find somebody else? Aren't there good American women here? Maybe he just didn't find anybody. Maybe that's just what he wanted to do, and I'm in support of that, of him. I don't know what his success rate is going to be, but go ahead and give it a shot. Try something different if the other stuff is not working. And when we see Teresa, she's got her hair, she's blonde, but her hair, that's definitely a dye job. Okay, that is not, a natural blonde. Even though she may naturally be a few shades off of it, I don't know, but that was definitely, it looked bleached to me. I'm a hairstylist, for anybody who doesn't know. I'm also a hairstylist, so I know hair color and cutting and stuff like that. Now, I was like, wondering if she had some extensions into, because the hair was like super thick. So, she's very into looking good and stuff. And that's also a thing about Eastern Europe, right? Women are very like, honey, listen, lipstick, looking good, hair, like they very much are into taking care of themselves and stuff. What'd you say, Barbara? Juan was just a bit snarky to Susan. I didn't like that. Yeah, Juan definitely has an attitude. Now listen, Juan for sure has an attitude. Now that, because remember he said on the first day, I don't know if she's going to like what I think she's just being too picky and, and maybe she is, but it's not what he said, because she probably is being too picky. That's probably why in a city like Manhattan, or or borough in Manhattan, Manhattan is a borough of New York City. So in the borough of Manhattan, which is part of New York City, why with all these millions of men she couldn't find anybody. There probably is a level of pickiness that is going on. I mean, let's face it. I mean, she's successful. She doesn't have any kids. There's plenty of divorcees her age, that might be looking to start over again. So I think she is super picky, but it's the way that he says it. And he's like, snarky is a very good word for that, Barbara. I totally agree with that, right? Yeah. Barbara, yes, girl. Yes, but yes, those girls, they like to keep themselves coiffed. Absolutely. I remember I had a couple of friends, they were from they were from Russia and Ukraine, and they used to be like, American women, what is this? What are you all wearing? In my country, we never leave the house without looking like, and these girls, whenever I would hang out, we would go have lunch and stuff, man, they always were dressed to the nines. I mean, they dressed like so, and I mean, I'm into fashion, so I kind of was like really into it. I was like, ooh, look, what's she wearing what's Anna got on today, Nastasha's looking real good with those ruffles, girl. They were always into their looks and stuff. But I'm digressing. Anyway, getting back to the date. So I say all that to say, because they are very into their looks, I'm not saying every single woman in Eastern Europe, but that is a thing though. I just feel like, when she saw him, she was like, oh, good Lord, what did they set me up with? And I wonder if Katerina warned her ahead of time, and she's like, but no, I'm gonna go on the date and just be open and stuff like that. But yeah, she wasn't into him whatsoever. It is gonna be someone who listen, spectrum means you can be up here, you can be down here, and where he's at, he's functional enough to be able to hold down a job and to do his hobbies and to live independently, right? So he has that capacity, and to get a passport, get on a plane and fly over, fly across the globe. So he's somewhere on that spectrum where he can hold down probably a relationship, I'm sure. But I wonder if he would maybe do better. Maybe, I don't know if he's open to dating someone else who's also on the spectrum, you know what I mean? Because I just feel like it's going to be really, really a hard thing. Unless somebody just straight up trying to get his pockets, you know what I'm saying? Because it could be that too. And, I don't think he's making that much, but you never know. Somebody might just be like, you know what? Hey, look, he ain't my type, but you know what? He's got a good paycheck coming in, and I can navigate this, kind of take control of the situation. He might wind up with somebody like that. So I feel more like protective over Harold, and I don't want him to get, I don't want to say catfish, but sometimes people are looking for marriage for the wrong reasons. And I kind of feel like, that definitely, he's vulnerable, right? I mean, let's be honest. Barbara said, I love Harold's frequent smiles. Yeah, I mean, he seems like a very warm-hearted, kind person. He doesn't seem like he, you know, gets, crazy upset, like he has like a calm temperament and everything like that. I mean, we don't know him, but I mean, just from what he's giving us, he seems like a very harmless guy, just wants somebody to love. And, Teresa obviously is not it. So, it was Katerina's way of saying, look, I'm going to give you, what you want, and then later on, I'll give you what you need. So I guess Katerina already knew that this wasn't going to work out more than likely, but, she still wanted to feel like she's giving her client, she's listening to him and what he's saying he desires. So, he's trying to tell her about his rock collection, and, he drew her a picture, and, that's like, he needs to be with somebody who's, a little bit, I think, intellectually a little bit more closer to where he's at, because, I mean, that's kind of hard, I mean, I don't know how I feel about that. I think there needs to be like, her trying to, why is Katerina not trying to find somebody that's a little bit more similar to him? Because I mean, that's going to be very difficult in his situation. So, Barbara says, Harold was asked, what's your favorite thing? And he said, your pleasure. Points. He sure did. You know what, Barbara? It's so funny you said that. It is so funny you said that, because I was like, what did he say? Because I usually have the closed caption on, but I had it off for that particular night for some reason. So I had to stop, rewind, turn the closed caption on, and I said, he said her pleasure. You see, that's so sweet. He seems so sweet, right? Like, so Katerina, you got to do your magic and find, I'm sure if she goes into her pool, I'm sure there's plenty of families of women that are like Carol that want to get their daughter married off too, right? And are afraid that, they'll never get married, or or that they're too afraid that she'll meet someone that'll take advantage of her. That would be a perfect kind of match, I think, like, that show on Netflix, Dating on the Spectrum, and you have autistic people dating other autistic people, and it seems to be, they're not all like success matches or anything like that. Most of them weren't actually, but it seemed to be a little bit more comforting for the families, because the families kind of understood and stuff. So I use my CC hearing is bad. It is a gem. I love closed caption. My hearing's not that great either. Barbara, you're not the only one, girl. It's okay. So, so they end the date, and, he wants to keep in contact with her, and she's like, oh, no, I don't know, I got to take care of my dogs. And he's like, but maybe some other time. And she's like, I just don't really, I don't really think so. So she tried to let him down gently. And then the second time she was a little bit more direct, like, okay, I don't really know if this is gonna, pan out. So I'm glad that he wasn't like devastated. I'm glad that he took it as, okay, well, you know what? He says, I got to go on a date with a blonde woman, and she was like athletic, and, so this is great. So, at least he had the experience of something that he wanted, and maybe he will find somebody else. I mean, maybe the next girl maybe she'll find a blonde girl, but maybe more on his level. Who cares about the hair color? That has nothing to do with it. He just needs someone that's going to kind of be a little bit more on his level, I think. Barbara says, you catch me, you catch way more with, you do. Closed caption is a godsend. Let me tell you something. Because sometimes, especially if people are speaking fast, people have different accents, people could be speaking in dialects, all kinds of stuff. I use closed caption. Me and my husband were always fighting over that, because he does, it's big on the screen, it's kind of invasive, but I need it. So, but I feel like I'm more in tune with what's going on that show than he does, because I can see every little word that they're saying. But so that was it. That was the end of Harold's date. And it looks like next week we're going to get a good makeover for him. I'm very excited. I can't wait to see her make him look a little bit better. Now, I am wondering if this makeover is going to include a new hairpiece, because he needs a new hairpiece. That piece is not working. It looks very, very obvious that is a piece. So, did he bring extras with him? Listen, hair pieces are all over the world. You can get those things anywhere. I used to do clients, they would come in from literally every stretch of the earth, and they would come in with hair pieces that they got from their countries and stuff. So you can get them anywhere. So, I know he can't just like order one on Amazon like you can do here, but, I'm sure he can, she can help him out. Come on, Katarina. I'm rooting for you, girl. Come on, help him out so we can get Harold a woman, right? We want to see him get married. So that's it, guys. That was all that I have for this particular episode. I was going to do the tell-all for 90 Day Fiancé Part 3, but then I decided, we did enough tell-all. That's enough. I think we had enough with the tell-all. So, but I will be starting the new 90 Day Fiancé, which I believe starts on June 5th, I believe it is. It's coming up soon anyway. So I'm really excited about that. Man, they are not giving us any breaks. They are making sure that we have a 90-day something going every day of the week for the whole calendar year. So that's it, guys. If you guys enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe, and please share it with your friends if you enjoyed it, and all that good stuff. I will see you again on Monday for Match Me Abroad. This same show will be doing that again. And then I will see you guys again on Thursday for Married at First Sight. I want to thank everybody who joined in the chat, Barbara, and our new member here, Mercy. Is it Mwakali Nguku? Is that how you say it? I'm hoping I said it right, but you know what? Mercy, feel free to write the pronunciation of your name so that I'm saying it correctly. So next time I see you, I can be like, Mercy, bop, 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 bop. I can say your whole name and be sounding almost like a Kenyan. Anyway, that's it, guys. I hope you're doing well, staying safe. Take care. See you soon. Chipi Salacho.